Jakarta, the bustling capital of Indonesia, is sinking at an alarming rate, and the situation is worsening. In a race against time, the Indonesian government has attempted to address this crisis with an ambitious $80 billion project, the construction of a massive seawall. But the question remains, can this project save Jakarta from the floods, or has the city reached the point where relocating is the only viable solution? Jakarta's sinking crisis. Jakarta's battle with flooding is far from new. The city's sinking problem is mainly attributed to over-extraction of groundwater, poor infrastructure, and the inevitable rise in sea levels. Currently, Jakarta is sinking by 7.5 to 14 centimeters per year, an alarming rate that worsens each passing day. To make matters worse, global sea levels are rising by approximately half a centimeter annually, adding to the flooding risks. According to the Indonesian Ministry of Public Works and Housing, nearly 13% of Jakarta's total land area is already below sea level, and projections suggest that by 2050, 95% of North Jakarta could be submerged. The city's struggle with water supply issues is crucial in understanding why Jakarta is sinking so fast. Around 75% of Jakarta's residents rely on groundwater as their main source of drinking water due to a lack of access to running tap water. This over-extraction of groundwater has led to the subsiding of the land, leaving large portions of the capital at risk of sinking into the sea. With nearly 10 million people living in Jakarta, many areas are seeing the ground sink as much as 25 centimeters annually in some parts. Jakarta is one of the fastest sinking cities in the world. To address this, the government has implemented temporary solutions such as relocating tens of thousands of residents during peak rainy seasons. But as the city continues to sink, the prospect of long-term sustainability has become uncertain. The $80 billion Seawall project. One of the most ambitious attempts to save Jakarta from sinking and flooding is the construction of a massive seawall. Known as the National Capital Integrated Coastal Development, the seawall is designed to protect the city from rising sea levels. The project's main component, the giant seawall, was originally envisioned to stretch for 32 kilometers along the coast, separating Jakarta from the ocean and providing protection against floods. The idea behind this giant seawall is to shield the city from the rising sea levels while controlling the influx of water from the sea. The project also includes the development of a series of lagoons that will collect and store water from Jakarta's 13 rivers. The seawall was part of a larger plan that aimed to tackle Jakarta's water management issues by creating large lagoons inside the seawall to store water from the city's rivers. The project was also intended to bring major developments to Jakarta, including the creation of artificial islands, new skyscrapers, and even an airport. This mega-project was also expected to support Jakarta's economic growth, with promises to create thousands of jobs, boost tourism, and improve the country's infrastructure. The design of the seawall was inspired by Garuda, a mythical creature that symbolizes strength, adding an element of cultural significance to the project. The vision behind the seawall was to turn Jakarta into a world-class city, capable of handling both its growing population and the environmental challenges it faces. The project's slow progress. Despite the ambitious vision, the seawall project has been plagued by delays. By 2024, only 13 kilometers of sea dikes and estuaries have been completed, far less than the 32 kilometers originally planned. Several factors have contributed to this delay, including changes in leadership, lack of investment, and bureaucratic obstacles. The project's complicated design and the scale of construction required have also slowed progress. With Jakarta's political landscape constantly shifting, the inconsistency in leadership has made it difficult for the government to maintain focus on the project. The government initially aimed to complete the first phase of the seawall by 2022, but delays have left the project stalled, with current estimates predicting completion by 2027. While some progress has been made, the project has not progressed as planned, and questions arise about whether the full vision will ever come to fruition. Budget constraints and fluctuating funding sources have also been a major concern, as the cost of the seawall has escalated over the years. These financial challenges, coupled with the lack of a unified political will to drive the project, have resulted in the slow pace of progress. If these delays continue, Jakarta could find itself submerged before the seawall is ever completed. The fate of Jakarta's artificial islands. A key part of the National Capital Integrated Coastal Development Plan was the creation of 17 artificial islands in Jakarta Bay. These islands were designed to offer space for new developments and support the overall goal of protecting Jakarta from rising sea levels. However, this part of the project has also faced setbacks. The islands, designed to house residential and commercial spaces, were to provide Jakarta with much-needed land to accommodate its growing population and offer solutions to the city's overcrowding issues. In a manner similar to Dubai's man-made islands, these artificial islands were constructed from sand taken from the seabed. Yet the consequences have been severe. The islands are already sinking, parts of them being eroded faster than anticipated. According to reports from the Indonesian Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, the reclamation process is causing significant damage to the marine environment. The erosion of sand is not only threatening the stability of the islands, but also disrupting local ecosystems, affecting fish populations and coral reefs in the region. Furthermore, construction has disrupted marine life in the surrounding waters, drawing protests from environmental activists and local fishing communities. The reclamation project has also been marred by corruption scandals, with city officials being accused of accepting bribes to overlook violations of environmental standards. These scandals have undermined public trust in the project, leading to widespread opposition from local communities. After a government ban on the project in 2016, work was suspended, but it resumed in 2017, only to face further delays and opposition from various stakeholders. Environmental groups have argued that the project's environmental impact outweighs its potential benefits, and many continue to demand a halt to further reclamation efforts. The shifting focus, moving the capital city. The failure to make significant progress on the Seawall project has led the Indonesian government to consider a more drastic solution: relocating the capital city altogether. In recent years, the government has started building a new capital, named Nusantara, located in Borneo. The move is seen as a response to Jakarta's unrelenting sinking problem and the threat posed by frequent flooding. The decision to move Indonesia's capital was made to alleviate the pressures Jakarta has been facing due to rapid urbanization, environmental degradation, and overpopulation. The new capital city promises to provide a fresh start for Indonesia's government and address some of Jakarta's ongoing challenges. Nusantara, located outside Java, is strategically positioned to avoid the problems Jakarta faces, including seismic activity and tsunamis. The new capital's location offers a more stable environment, and its proximity to a maritime port ensures economic advantages. The Indonesian government has also pointed out that Nusantara's location offers better access to natural resources, which could drive economic development in the long term. Although it may still face challenges like heavy rainfall and flooding, Nusantara is expected to be less vulnerable than Jakarta in the long run. The government has allocated billions of dollars to develop the city, and construction is already underway. However, critics argue that building a new capital from scratch may take decades and cost more than initially projected. What's next for Jakarta? As the Indonesian government looks toward relocating the capital, the future of Jakarta remains uncertain. The ongoing problems with the Seawall project, the environmental concerns surrounding the artificial islands, and the complications of moving the entire capital to a new location all add to the complexity of the situation. Many Jakarta residents are left wondering whether the government will be able to fulfill its promise of protecting the city, or if they'll need to seek refuge elsewhere. The city's current state demands urgent attention, as its infrastructure continues to deteriorate under the pressures of rapid urbanization and climate change. The decision to move the capital, however, is not without its critics. Some argue that relocating Jakarta's government could create additional logistical challenges, both financially and socially. Moreover, some believe that efforts should be focused on completing the seawall and improving the city's infrastructure, rather than abandoning Jakarta altogether. That's all for today's video. If you found this video insightful, Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have thoughts on Jakarta's Seawall project or the future of Nusantara, drop a comment below. Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned.